So, you're a dad and you work over 70 hours a week and you want to get back in shape. Here's the truth, you don't need long hours in the gym. In fact, if you have 15 minutes, I'll show you how to do it. Now, here's an important note. According to the American College of Cardiology, men who sit more than 10 hours a day could have an increase of 64% risk for heart disease. Just to put that into context, the average person spends 9.6 hours a day just sitting down. That's the average person who works 40 hours a week. If you work almost double that and you're constantly tired all the time, then you're probably easily spending way more than 10 hours a day just sitting down. So with just 15 minutes a day, let me help you get back in shape. Okay, I want to start off with some context here. So, busy dad, right? Working 70 hours a week. Now, in my experience, usually it's been business owners, executives, engineers, managers, etc., right? Especially when you're working with a ton of this time or this much throughout the week, right? You have limited time. Maybe you're traveling sometimes for work, right? So you need to be very, very disciplined. And here's usually the biggest challenge that I notice is that, all right, you're working really hard in your professional career, right? You probably very disciplined at home too, right? The values that you want to teach your kids, hard work, discipline, etc. But what happens, the friction piece or the one that's missing is that the principles you're using with work and in your marriage and your family, you're not using with your health and fitness. And that's why so many dads were super, super busy. A lot of these like executives, managers, business owners, why they let themselves go is because they don't think about it the same. And that's a really big problem. You always want to look like or look at your fitness the same way that you look at business, right? So having a plan, making sure that you're consistent and disciplined and, even showing up when you don't feel like it, right? That's super, super important. So just using some of the experience that I've had, individuals or dads that have been in this part, right? You probably have a minimum of 30 pounds to lose, 20 to 30 pounds, right? And one of the big motivators for you when you dig deeper, you also want to look and feel the part. It's hard to be as confident as you want, to be as push in terms of your professional career, business, etc., when you don't look the part. Because a fundamental truth as well is that people take you more seriously when you're in shape. People's perceptions of you change when you're in shape. And it's super important that you look and feel the part. If you're this business owner, if you're this CEO, if you're this leader that people follow constantly, you need to lead by example, right? And that also takes into your own family life, right? Your kids don't listen from what you say. They listen to what you do on a daily basis. So if you want to teach them the disciplines or the values of discipline and hard work, that starts with one, what you put in your mouth, and two, how you show up every single day. That's also why being energized when you come home is super, super important. So that takes me to the struggles. All right. Usually, here are some of the ones that I've noticed the most. Limited time. We already talked about. Always tired. Right. You're spending a lot of mental and emotional energy at work, putting out fires all the time, taking care of deals. And when you come home, all you want to do is just sit down on the couch. Now, that's very problematic, right? Because you come home and then maybe the wife has a ton of things to do and she might be nagging at you and all of a sudden the kids want your attention, etc. This is why guys feel so burnt out all the time, where you're handling so many things, you're continuing to provide as well, financial stress, life stress, but at the same time, you have to show up as this, superhero when you come home, but really all you want to do is sit down on the couch. And that's the exact reason why you need to get in shape right now. It's so important to be able to take care of this because unfortunately, the reality is for men, you can't turn off. All right. You have to be taking care of those. And it's also a skill. This is why health and fitness is a skill in itself to be able to recover, to be able to take care of yourself, to section out rest so that you're performing at your best all the time. Now, a couple more here. Late nights, early mornings, motivation is a big one, right? And lastly, no structure and no plan. And this is a really, really big one here because, like I shared, the way that you probably treat your professional life you probably treat health and fitness very differently, right? Whenever you say you're going to do something at work, you do it. Whenever you have coworkers that are depending on you, you have deadlines, you finish it on time. But what happens with your food, right? You tell yourself you're going to eat healthy, you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym, and maybe you do it for a couple of weeks, but then you fall off track, right? And it's a cycle over and over and over again. And that's why it can also be so discouraging. And sometimes it might seem easier to just say, you know what, I'm not going to take care of it. So that's why I want to go through this in three simple steps. In order to get back in shape with only 15 minutes a day, number one, we're going to work on workouts, right? Short and effective 15-minute workouts. Number two is going to be neat movements. And number three is going to be simple food swaps that you can use on a daily basis for your nutrition. So here's part one, and it's all about short workouts. Now, big limiting belief that a lot of guys have at the very beginning is, okay, I need to work out for an hour, work out for long periods of time, run for hours on end in order to lose weight. And that is simply wrong. Okay. Number one is most of your fat loss is going to come from your nutrition, and your workouts should be used on building muscle, building up your different adaptation of strength, etc., helping you feel more energized. Okay. Now, quick preface here. Ideally, best bet is to get into a gym. Okay, if you can, get to a gym. Now, again, if you really are strapped on time, this is what I would do if I only had 15 minutes. Okay, so you're going to do 4 workouts a week, and they're only going to be 15 minutes long, and you're going to turn it into a circuit. Okay, so here's an example of a circuit. So push ups, body weight squats, RDLs, bench dips, shoulder taps. Okay. So you would each do one for a minute. So every minute you would start by doing push-ups. This next minute, squats, etc., etc. Okay. You do that 1 round, you rest for a bit, and then you do that 3 rounds. That's 15 minutes. Super simple. All right. And the way that it would work is you would work for 20 seconds and then 40 seconds off. So, for example, push ups, do push ups for 20 seconds and then rest for 40 seconds. And if that becomes super easy, then start doing push ups for 30 seconds and then rest for 30 seconds off. Okay. You can continually do that. Now, if you want kind of a whole outline of an example circuits, just comment on the word below workouts, and I can shoot you over a free guide with what simple circuit workouts would look like. So that's how I would structure them out. Now, the advantages of this, obviously, one is time. Number two is you don't really need any weights or anything like that. All you need is your body weight. All right. So especially if you need to structure that, just start off with very simple. You don't need to push yourself super hard. All right. Yes, you want to break a sweat, yes, etc. But really, initially, if you haven't been exercising for a long time, just start off by completing things. That is really the most important thing. Okay. It's all about consistency. It's all about building up momentum, because there's no point in going to the gym for 2 weeks, but then the next 2 weeks you're off track, right? It's all about building up momentum. How consistent can you get? So your workouts should be super simple at the very beginning, super easy, so that you can really focus on building up that skill. Again, consistency with your health is a skill in itself, right? So that's why super simple, 4 workouts a week, 15 minutes, right? It'll take you to a minimum of an hour. And that's really enough adaptation that you need in order to get results. Okay. Now, you might have an off day, and I want to go through this concept called breaking up workouts or breakup workouts. Okay. Now, let's say you did this circuit for 3 times a week. Okay. Push-ups, body weight squats, etc. Right. And let's say in 20 seconds, you were able to do 10 push-ups, let's say. So that's 3 sets of 10, right? If you were at the gym, you'd also do 3 sets of 10. Now, what you can actually do, if let's say you actually don't have 15 minutes, is break them up throughout the day. Now, so that means, let's say you do 10 push ups in the morning, 10 at lunch, 10 evening. So you could actually break these up and do them separately throughout the day. So whether you do that push up, squats, bench, shoulder taps, etc. You do that one round, and then later on in the day you do another round, and then third part in the day you do another round. That means instead of 15, all you need is 5 minutes. So it's super simple. Now, the big caveat here is that uh, in order for these workouts to be effective, that 10 push-ups should be close to failure. That means you really should be struggling with them. So that's why it's super important to be able to do this or to choose a difficulty. So let's say instead, if you were to break these up, 20 push-ups is hard enough for you, right? You're really struggling. 18, 19, 20 is struggling. So that's enough of a load for your body to take on. And so do that 3 times throughout the day, workout done. And again, all you needed was 10 or 5 minutes, not even less than that, right? So that's how I would structure your workout so that you're efficient with time, and also you are being able to do that if you're traveling a ton, et cetera, et cetera. Now, part two is our NEAT movements. All right. And NEAT simply stands for non exercise activity thermogenesis. This is simply stuff like walking, fidgeting, standing up and down. Now, if you didn't know, you actually burn calories from doing a lot of these things, right? Simply by me doing this action, I burn calories. Simply by me twiddling my thumbs, moving my hands, I burn calories. And that is why walking is so important. Walking is about creating this lifestyle, increasing your non exercise calorie burn, right? Because really, if you go to the gym 3 times a week, but then all of a sudden you're sitting down all day, that doesn't mean you're active. You're still sedentary. So it's about creating this lifestyle that will allow you to, one, not only boost your metabolism, but also two, make health a standard in your life. All right. So with all these NEAT movements, the simplest one, the foundational one, is start off with 10,000 steps a day. Okay. And that really equals 7,000 a week. Okay. Per week. And that is a basic thing that everybody should shoot for. All right. So whether that is throughout the day, you spread that 10,000 steps every single day, or you go that into do more on the weekend. Now, I want to share two case scenarios here. Okay. So, number one of my clients is a business owner, and for the past couple of weeks, he's worked 16-hour days. All right. Insane 16-hour days. All right. So, the way that we've still hit his step goal is that throughout the week, we have a smaller goal. So, instead of 10K steps every single day, he's shooting for maybe 5,000. Right. But then on the weekends, he'll add those 5,000 so that he's getting closer to 20,000 steps on the weekends, so that he still hits that goal of 70,000 per week. So that's where you can leverage the weekends. Now, I have another example, right? 10,000 steps is around an hour and 40 minutes every single day of walking, right? So one of my other clients, he's a VP in real estate. And what we've done is that 10K steps used to be super easy for him. Now, each goal, we've been shooting for 12K or 15K steps every single day. And what we've done in order to hit that is that he usually takes most of his calls on the phone while he's walking. So he's walking around the office using the different dead times. All right. Let's say if you had to take a lunch as well, 9 times out of 10, if you're this busy, you're probably busy during your lunch period. But can we take an extra 10 minutes here or there to just get out, reset yourself, be productive with things? This is why it's so important, because again, these NEAT movements, this is what helps you create a lifestyle out of things, right? It's all about losing weight and being able to keep it off and transform your lifestyle so that you have a healthier version of yourself. Now, very last point here I want to share is that use this as an opportunity. Okay. These walking on the weekends, I want to use it as an opportunity with your kids, your family. All right. One of the most powerful things I've heard from all my clients is that once they start walking with their spouse, increase connection in marriage. Right. And that doesn't mean that they've had poor marriages beforehand. No, not at all. It's made it even more powerful. They feel even closer to their wives. Secondly, when they go to walks with their kids, right? They're able to create more of a connection with their kids, and all of those are priceless, right? You cannot put a price on being able to connect more with the people that you love. So I want you to leverage that, use it as an opportunity, right? Leverage these walking moments or these neat movements to really not only build your lifestyle but also with the people that you love, and make it a focal point. All right, so that is part two, neat movements. Now, here's the last one, simple food swaps. All right. This is, instead, I just put out the straight example of one of my clients. So when I shared with you that client who's a VP of real estate, and this is essentially what he eats on a daily basis. All right. So breakfast, we always want to start off with protein. So eggs and fruit. All right. So whatever you're eating for breakfast right now, 9 times out of 10, knowing you, you're probably skipping breakfast. You're probably not that hungry, right? However, the big problem with that is that you need energy throughout the day. And what tends to happen is that because you're not eating breakfast, you're overeating in dinner. You're still hungry after dinner and you still want to indulge in whether it's ice cream, chocolate, et cetera, et cetera. So to combat that, have more food throughout the day. All right. So always start off with protein, a little bit of fruit, great. Now, if you're still a little bit hungry after a few hours, then take down some 2 scoops of protein. All right. Super important to hit your protein goal as well. And that's going to tie you over a little bit. Now, in my experience, whenever you're working 70 plus hours a week, right, you probably don't pack a lunch. If you're lucky, the wife can make the food for you. If not, you're probably eating out. All right. So here's a couple examples that I've used. So whenever you look about eating out, you want to see what is the cleanest options that I can have. All right. What's the simplest ingredients? For example, you want to stick to whole foods, right? Whole foods without any ingredients. And one great option is actually Chipotle. All right. So this order, it's going to look like this. All right. You're choosing rice or beans, double meat, lettuce, grilled veggies, etc., salsa. All right. Very simple, a lot of volume. Now, you don't want to get any guac or cheese because you're already getting enough fats from the meat. And also, you are getting enough fats from, they're probably cooking everything in oil as well. Excuse me. Now, here's the big kicker, okay? You want to eat until you are 80% full, right? 9 times out of 10, if you really do that and you're mindful and you're present while you're eating, you're not going to be able to finish all of this. So, something that is probably what, 800 calories with everything that's in there, maybe you're only eating 400, right? Because you're just eating half. If you pair that with drinking enough water, you're only going to be able to finish half of the bowl. All right. So that's going to be really important. Again, making sure that you're not over consuming in food because energy is important for when you go back to work. And also, secondly, making sure that your food choices are as clean as possible. All right. Now, a second option is just a big chicken Caesar salad. If you go to different restaurants, etc., get something that's convenient. Get a chicken Caesar salad. Ask for the dressing on the side. Ask for a double chicken, and that's going to be enough. Keep you full till dinner. All right. Now, lastly, dinner. Super simple. Choose either chicken breast or a lean cut of steak. Have it with some rice, potatoes, rice, potatoes, and have a salad, right? Super simple. Meat and potatoes, can never go wrong with that. All right. And I want you to use that same thing where you're just eating until you're 80% full. And the biggest thing is prioritize your protein first. All right. When you eat your protein first and veggies, that's going to, one, not only make sure that you're prioritizing those, right? Protein is going to be super helpful for building muscle. Protein is going to be super helpful for keeping full. Vitamins and nutrients coming from veggies, right? Secondly, once you're done that, then have some of the rice or have a little potatoes or either that or portion it out. Shoot for around half a cup, 3/4 of a cup of rice and potatoes, and that should be good enough. So using this alone, my client has lost over 40 pounds, and he's still going on strong. All right. So these are some simple food swaps that you want to make. So again, just to summarize, have breakfast. All right. 3 eggs, start your day off with protein. All right. Instead of different snacks where you're snacking on different things from a vending machine or going to lunch, etc., grab 2 scoops of protein. All right. Either that or grab protein shakes at a gas station. Every gas station has that. All right. When you're eating out, choose clean options and just eat until you're 80% full. All right. And then whenever you get home, keep it super simple. So that's everything that I would do if I had a dad who works over 70 hours a week and wants to get back in shape. Super simple. Apply all 3 of those. And if you found it valuable, again, smash the like button below. All right. Want to get this video to a minimum of 20 likes. So make sure to smash that like button. And if you want, again, a full section of those workouts, comment workouts down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Go be legendary.